Welcome to the Marketing Revolution podcast. This is the underground movement of savage marketers from all over the world. We are not Fortune 500 companies. We are real entrepreneurs with real businesses that have one major thing in mind: to set goals and devour them daily. Because we understand that everyone wants to eat, but only savage marketers are willing to do the hunt. Now let's get this revolution started.
Hey, what's up, everybody? John Hiley here with the Marketing Revolution podcast and the Marketing Savage Facebook group, coming to you with another couples retreat show.
Ooh, couples retreat.
The couples retreat Saturday.
My favorite movie.
With your co-host, Angela Hiley.
I love that movie.
Yeah, couples retreat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, it's got Vince Vaughn in it, which is like one of my favorite actors of all time.
What's that big black dude that's in it? What's his name?
I don't know.
He played Big Worm. I'll just call him Big Worm.
Yeah, but you didn't even know that was Big Worm until I said something.
Well, yeah, because, like putting two and two together, I mean, he plays a totally different character than what Big Worm was.
That's true.
In Friday, and they call him, hey, what up, Big Perm? Big Perm, Big Worm.
You got one of your buttons are undone.
That's right. I leave these buttons undone. I'm wearing my cowboy outfit that I bought in Texas.
Oh, wait a minute. We should definitely talk about the gentleman that helped you find your cowboy boots.
Yeah, because I told you guys before that I could never fit my legs in cowboy boots.
Yes.
That's because my legs are too damn big.
Your calves.
I actually can feel when my chest goes, I can feel these buttons busting loose on this shirt.
Do you like that?
Yeah, it's what it did. It busted loose on this shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was in Texas, we ended up going to the cowboy store, and we were really just shopping for you originally, right? Was we going in there?
No, I just wanted to go in there
and look at their boots.
Yes.
Yeah, so I get in there, and some guy came up, and he looked like he was like a real deal fucking rootin' tootin'. I mean, this dude was probably,
he was from the
60
he
years old.
No, he wasn't 60.
He had to have been easily 60.
No, he was probably like late 40s, early 50s.
If he was late 40s, he was really old looking for a late 40-year-old.
I didn't think he looked that old.
But he was the real deal. He kind of reminded you of...
he lived out in the sticks.
Yeah, you remember that movie with the guy named Curly where all the New Yorkers go on that trip and Curly the cowboy? They all get horses and they go out on a trip and they're with Curly and Curly ends up dying.
I know which movie you're talking about, but I don't know if I watched the whole thing. What was the name of that movie? Is it like three? Who's in it?
The curly-haired guy.
But I mean, are these actors
Anyhow, that's
that
just a small part of the story. That's a small
Wait a
part
minute,
of the story.
does it have the one guy on it that has
City Slickers?
Okay, there we go.
City Slickers, y'all.
Oh, that's like
old school. Yeah, it's an older movie.
that's like no, just go on. It has that.
Well,
one.
this guy
Billy Crystal
kind of reminds you of Curly and City Slickers. And so he was a real deal cowboy, He was in there working in a, what was the name of that store we was in?
I'm probably going to say
It wasn't
the
a
name.
boot barn. It wasn't a boot barn.
No, it was, is it Cavaliers?
Yeah, Cavaliers or
I
something
hope
like
I
that.
pronounced that wrong. More than likely,
well.
I probably pronounced it wrong.
Anyhow, big-ass boot store in Texas. And I told him my problem. I said, I'm just going to be honest with you.
All kind of Western gear.
I said, I'm just going to be honest with you there, partner. I was like, I haven't been able to find a boots that I could land in. And he said, I've got the boots for you. Took me back, found these boots, and I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, he's right. They fit, and they look nice, and I'm wearing them today right now.
But what did he tell you about when you put them on, how they're supposed to fit?
He told me your heel ought to lift an inch off when you're taking a step, and right there in the middle, it ought to feel like shaking a woman's hand. That's how tight it should be right there in one spot in the middle, and he pointed to it. It should feel just like shaking a woman's hand. And so... as I bought these boots, right, I'm like, shit. So I was like walking around the store and I wanted to show her the boots. And then, as we're walking around the store, I'm like, shit. I'm like, I kind of feel like I need a shirt now because we'd been out all day and we were getting ready to go to dinner with with a bunch of people we knew. And so ended up finding a shirt, which I'm wearing today. And then I'm like, well,
belt
fuck.
with a belt buckle.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck. Now I got the shirt and I got the boots. I need the belt buckle.
And you got your hat.
Ended up belt buckle. Got me the hat, not a cowboy hat, but kind of like a John Deere farmer looking hat.
No,
in a way.
it's just kind of like
it's like a farmer's hat.
And that's not a farmer's hat. I mean,
Looking
it's
at it
kind
right
of like
now.
a rugged country boy's
Kind
hat.
of a rugged country boy.
Yeah, there we go. Country boy, not a
Country
farmer.
boy can't survive hat.
Yeah. A little difference there between a farmer and a country boy.
So
I
and
mean, like,
I do things a little different when I'm in a store. So I start putting on the shit like right as I'm walking around the store. So by the time we got to the end, I was wearing everything.
yes.
And, you know, I knew that I was just going to go ahead and, you know, put everything on and wear everything later on that night.
Well, you
for
took
dinner.
it all off so they can ring it up, and then when we got outside, you just took your clothes off and got dressed out in the parking lot.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're right by I don't know if they call them a freeway out there or a highway, whatever they call them in Texas. That's where John's just putting on a show. He's just taking his stuff off and then putting it back on.
It's not like I was taking my pants off or anything.
Well, you would have had long underwear on, so people probably would have thought they were biker shorts.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So, but yeah, that's
goodness.
we ended up heading on it. So that's what I'm wearing today anyway. And feels good. You know, these
he's
boots,
wearing his
I feel
get
like
up
these
gear.
boots are breaking in now.
That's good.
You know, the first time I wore them, we ended up going out to dinner, and then we went up to a place called the Concrete Cowboy in Frisco, Texas. And we were up there hanging out with everybody. And on the way up there, I was like, man, I got to go take these motherfuckers off.
Yeah.
And so I ended up, you know, putting on my regular shoes because they were more comfortable. But, man, I've been wearing these things all day today. And I think little by little, I'm going to break these bitches in.
Yeah, and then
They're going to be my go-to.
They will be your go-to.
Going to be my go-to shoes here. Some
Yep.
cowboy boots.
Holla.
First to the first, man. Got to make it happen sometime. Hey, we're planning on moving to Texas. We got to get fucking Texaned out.
Oh my God, I think that's the first time we've said that.
Nah, I've said it on other podcasts.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the first time that we said it
I mean, I would
together.
say we're like 85 and 90% sure that we will be living and probably live there the rest of our lives in Texas.
Well, it's just interesting. I mean, we got a lot of clients out there. We go out there once a month, and we're just looking at, you know, we're at a position in life where, you know, we can move anywhere we want.
Yeah,
And
and
our business is,
Jonathan wants to move there, so
You know, our main business is this. You know, we're a media company, marketing company. And a lot of you guys don't know if some of you guys are listening from like the PDR industry, stuff like that, but we do stuff in every industry now.
Yep.
And I mean, we, you know, we build out everything from influencers to pest control to insulation to
We do
God,
it
man,
all.
trucking, recruiting. I mean, anything
do it
you can
all.
imagine, we're dipping into it. We're dipping into it.
You know, one of the things that I absolutely love, and I was saying this to Jonathan today, is that I love the fact that John was able to, because this is obviously what you love to do. And your knowledge and just how you were able to put everything together. And this thing is just like blowing up like something fierce. But
It's almost like a marketer did it.
which would be you. But it's giving Jonathan, like, we're able to give our son this opportunity. And he is like, I'm telling you, his work ethic for a 19-year-old is it's like night and day compared to like when I was 19 years old or when John was 19 years old. Like
He's become a ninja inside of the media systems. I mean, I knew the kid was really good. Like, he was so good at video games back in the day that like people were like rumors were going around about him. Like, he was like an assassin on video games. And, you know, believe it or not, I mean, that shit really, if somebody shows the aptitude to get really good at a video game, then in the media world, if they can get an interest in that, they can become really fucking good very fast.
I also feel like this is what his generation is geared to do, in all honesty. I mean, like with technology, but back to my point that I was getting to make, like, this was one of my dreams, and it's actually coming true.
That Jonathan can work for us, and then he can also not only is he working for us, but he can advance up to some leadership positions and stuff like that into you know, the company. It's a very, very bright future, and he's becoming, like I said, he's extremely good at it very quickly. And I always felt like that. So, you know, some of you guys might not know this, but I built like almost everything in the marketing realm I've done. Like I've done myself.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my hands dirty. I haven't built an app or anything like. I have built an app on like some online builders and stuff like that, but that's about is literally the only thing that I haven't completely built out inside of this. And then we're talking about full on coding, building websites from scratch. We're talking about, building. I've probably built I'm up to probably about 600 funnels now that I've built.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it is very enjoyable. I still build funnels because I love to do it. And it's almost like it's playing a video game. And you're going to be frustrated at first, and there's going to be spots where you're stuck, and you're going to be forced to troubleshoot, and you're going to be forced to learn. And I've already been through all that. I've spent years and years and years, dealing with that. And now I'm forcing him to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So he had a problem he was stuck on for 4 hours the other day. And I could have jumped in and helped him, but the problem with that would have been he wouldn't have learned on his own. And a lot of times when you get stuck on a technical problem, and I know a lot of you guys probably want to pull your fucking hair out every time you get a technical issue. And that's primarily what stops people from being good at this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Is that it frustrates people so much that they just don't want to do it. But
Jonathan did it.
Yeah.
And he was so proud of himself afterwards.
Yep,
and I was proud of him.
He has that ability to, it frustrates him a little bit, but he doesn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key to being successful inside of I guarantee you ask anybody who's making funnels, making websites, running ads, all that stuff, you're always going to come to a point of frustration, and your answer is always after that point of major frustration, major failure, and you got to keep going before you get these little wins.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of testing and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. And the cool thing is you're like, if you're an individual like me, like I love solving problems, and you're just solving problems all day long.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting career. He's very, been very good at it. I mean, shoot, there was a time I always, I tell everybody who's working for me that troubleshooting is a very valuable skill.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a time that I actually, for 2 weeks solid, I troubleshooted one issue.
Do you remember what it was?
I can't remember well, I do remember it had something to do with the coding inside of one of our websites that we were creating. And we were building it on a different platform and a different system. And we were coding in a header and footer code. And for some reason, I couldn't get Google to read the header and the footer appropriately and crawl the menus, and it wasn't pulling in the menu, but we were coding the website. And it was a system, so what we were using way back then, we don't use it now for this. We use it for funnels, but we were using ClickFunnels back then, and we were coding a header and a footer in there. And then when we would actually create, and this is going to go over a lot of people's heads right here, so I'll make it quick. But we were going into the Google Masters dashboard, and we were running tests on the website, and we couldn't get Google to recognize that we had a header or a footer inside the website. And come to find out, there was some other different coding and stuff like that we had to figure out, and tons of troubleshooting. And but that's what we needed to take something that was like a ClickFunnels website that was easy to duplicate and make it into search engine optimized machine. Because right out of the gates, if you got a ClickFunnels website, it's not designed for search engine optimization. They don't have a header, they don't have a footer in it. And I had to figure out the code, how to code that in, because ClickFunnels opens it up where you can code the back end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can essentially turn it into anything that you want, really. In fact, the whole website can be written in code. You don't even got to use the builder. You can build the whole thing from code in the back end. So we were just... it was almost like, it's like you got a car that kind of runs like a turd.
Yeah.
And you're in there putting a supercharger in it.
Mm.
Because you want it to be the most elite fucking version of this car, right? So you're literally, let's just think about you get like a Mustang GT or something that, in all regards, man, I apologize for you Mustang GT guys, but really it's a turd until you do something with it. It is. And
all you pony boys out there.
Until you do something with it, it's a damn turd. And it's like taking a Mustang GT and fucking putting superchargers in it, doing the exhaust, all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you got a motherfucker that you step on about damn near fucking starts flying.
Yeah.
When you're fucking going 160 miles an hour down the road.
I feel you.
And really, that's And to grant it, for any of you Mustang guys, the fastest car I've ever been in was a Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that was her mom's husband Scott's Mustang, which was in Mustang Muscle Magazine, all kinds of shit like that.
Yeah.
Till he fucking ruined the whole thing. We won't even go there.
No, we won't go there.
That's a long story that you guys would just say, what the fuck, the whole time. You'd be like, what the fuck?
Well, you know,
What the fuck?
listen,
What the fuck?
Listen, my mom and dad got a divorce. I personally feel like she had a midlife crisis, and you know, it is what it is.
Shit, I might as well tell the story now.
No, we're not gonna tell the whole story. She's a grown woman. She made her decisions, and you know,
It's not a long story.
No, we don't need to talk about it. Let's just talk about
About how he
something
threw a rod on that Mustang and he ended up having an 18-year-old kid take it. He thought the 18-year-old kid was going to be able to fix it. And I'll grant it, guys, this was not just a Mustang. This was like in Mustang Muscle Magazine.
I mean,
it
he
was
took
done
the
by
thing
Steeda.
down to- I know,
it
he
was
took it
done
down
in
to
Canada. Like
Yeah.
it was in 2 times. It was in articles of Mustang Muscle. It was a Mustang Cobra, 1998.
I mean, he put a lot of
the
money in that thing.
motherfucker was fast as fuck.
Yeah.
And he goes and he throws a rod in it. You know, he's driving it around as his daily, and it was that back 8, you know, the one that normally throws on a Mustang. And so he gets the bright idea. And I still remember him telling me this. He goes, well, there's this kid that just got out of JVS, and, you know, I'm going to give him a stab at it because he's real good with Mustangs. I think he'll do a really good job for me. And
No,
I'm
you don't
thinking,
do that.
I'm thinking, oh, shit, okay.
No.
And he ends up giving it to the kid, doesn't give the kid a timeline, basically doesn't want to pay any money to have it done. And the kid gets it, and he's working at a towing company. Well, he ends up pulling the top of the motor off and all that shit, pulls the hood off.
He left it outside
Gets in
or
over his
something,
head
didn't
and
he?
leaves it outside, with the top of the motor off in the rain for 2 years. Rusted it all the way down to the fucking frame, the motor. Rusted the motor down to the fucking frame. Like, he literally Scott had to get the cops involved just to get his fucking car back. And I'm like, well, what the hell do you expect? You give a Muscle Mustang that's featured in fucking, you know, Muscle Mustang magazine to an 18-year-old kid on the whim, thinking he's going to fix it, and don't even give him a timeline. And find out, I mean, you're not checking on it occasionally, and find out it was left in a outside with the whole top of the motor pulled off and the damn hood off for 2 years. Yeah, everybody out there that's listening to this is saying, what the fuck?
It is what it is. It's my mother's husband. I mean, you know.
He got addicted to marijuana.
Oh my God, stop.
He did. I thought I'd never say anybody was addicted to marijuana until I met this guy. And he's smoking so much fucking weed that, you know, number one, her brother's the one that got him addicted to it.
Oh, dear God.
And so her brother's the one that got him addicted to it again.
Wheel.
And then you guys heard me talking about her brother before on the earlier podcast, stuff like that. You guys probably heard us talking about him. So, but he gets them addicted to it. And then this guy, all of a sudden, he's smoking like regular amounts of weed, man. You know, like occasionally you got people to go take a couple hits, you know, here and there occasionally, and maybe go through I mean, even at a extreme end, somebody going through like an eighth or a quarter of weed a week, right?
Yeah.
Well, this motherfucker was going through like an ounce a week. And he was out there like all the time, rolling big ass joints and smoking 2 or 3 of them at a time out behind their house. And then he became like the cat guy.
Okay, we are stopping at this right now. Okay. I will just sum this up because we are not going into.
It's your family.
No,
I got a weirdo family too.
No, he's not my family. That's my mother's husband. I am not related to him. Listen,
he saves them cats.
Listen,
all fucking 45
the man
of them.
has issues, and it's shit that he's never.
Can I at least tell him the type of cat food he buys these cats?
No, these are issues that he has
Please
never dealt with.
let me tell him the cat food he buys the cats. He goes out and buys them all fancy feast.
Okay, listen. Okay, I will just say this. When John is talking about Scott, okay, if you are a grown adult and you haven't dealt with your fucking baggage, like go out and deal with your fucking baggage or you're going to turn into a Scott, okay? That's what's going to happen to you down the road.
45 fucking cats and buying them fancy feast.
Yeah.
You know, like the expensive shit, like giving each one a little wrapper and giving them all random spots around their yard. It's so fucking weird. We don't go over there.
That's what happens when you don't deal with your fucking baggage. When you don't get your shit together, you're going to turn into a fucking Scott. And
I
guess
can
what?
actually say, like, you know, we would always laugh, like, you know, them commercials about your brain on drugs and weed ruining somebody's life. Like, I can say that I seen that happen to somebody. Like, fucking weed ruined his life.
I guess there's a chance, but it just depends on the type of person you are. And like I said, he's never dealt with his issues.
You know, and between buying an ounce of weed a week and buying all that fucking fancy feast, he ain't got no money at the end of the week.
No.
All the money goes to the cats and the weed.
But that's all right. I will say that the majority of Americans out there, y'all got some fucked up people in your family. I definitely do. Some on my dad's side, some on my mom's side, you know, but...
you guys wouldn't even believe my family if y'all met them. You guys wouldn't believe that I was related to them.
No.
You guys would just be like, you would meet some people in my family, and you'd be
That's all right. We all have dysfunctional families. Like, you know what? That's the biggest thing is like some families will be in denial and they'll be like, we all have our shit together. We're doing so good. We're all
my family doesn't even pretend.
Hi, and all this and that. Oh, on my dad's side of the family, oh hell yes, man. They pretend like they got their fucking shit together.
They're big time,
like,
big time Democrats too.
You know, and I mean, like their ass smells like fucking roses and this and that. But you know what? Y'all got some fucking issues. Okay, I've seen it, and y'all don't deal with it. You just sweep it under the rug and try to act all nice and fancy and everything else.
Big time. I mean, they get fighting mad. You start talking about politics in front of them people.
And that's why I don't go around them. Yeah, it's horrible,
big time
though.
Democrats.
It's horrible, though. Just because somebody looks at something differently does not mean that you have a right to sit there and like condemn them and make them feel like a piece of fucking shit. Yeah, and you know what? And here I am, like keeping my shit together because I don't want to be disrespectful, even though basically I want to tell them to go fuck off, and I'm about to shove my fist down their fucking throat.
Well, you know, you just want to land at like a family reunion on it. We should go to your family reunion and rent a helicopter and land there.
Oh, I would so do it. I would totally do it. And I don't give a fuck what anybody has to say. It's just because I would love to just see their mouths drop. I really, really would. It'd be like, oh, here comes the Hileys, John and Angela Hiley. And I'd be like, what's up, bitches?
No, I think what would be funner.
And then I can bend over and I'd be like, y'all can kiss my fucking ass.
I'm thinking of all the shit you could do. Like, I think it would be fun to like invite your whole family. Like, you know, let's just say you become like fucking billionaire rich, right?
Yeah.
And you buy like an island or some shit, and you invite and give like all these people in your family, you know, a ticket.
I don't want to be on an island with them.
No, instead of showing up, you like have like a hostess that brings them in, and you pop up on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, hey guys, sorry we couldn't make it. We're down here in Bermuda or whatever. You know, we're down here in whatever in Italy. I got stuck in Italy. I just thought I'd stop in and say hi on the screen.
Oh dear God.
And then you know, just be like, have fun.
We all have those family members.
Oh, good times, good times. That kind of reminds me of you know, how I went and got my GED. And we got that one letter that one time that wanted me to come to my GED class reunion, which was basically like, I think back then it was a 2-day thing.
Oh, it was a 2-day celebration?
Getting your GED. I think you had to come back 2 days.
You had to take what, 2 different type of tests or something? Or?
Fuck, it's been so long ago. I can't remember. I remember like the book I had to study was like 4 inches thick.
Now let me ask you a question. So when you dropped out of school or got kicked out, how long did you wait to get your GED?
It was relatively quick. I mean, probably within a year.
And what was the reason that you wanted to do this? Is it because of the superintendent, what he told you?
Well, no, you know, I was still under the impression, you know, back then I wasn't thinking like I think today, of course.
Yeah.
And, well, one of the reasons was obviously I did a little bit of college and went to that real estate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I knew that if I got my GED, I could attend community college.
I get you.
And back then, ultimately, one of my goals growing up was to be a real estate agent. Mm-hmm. And I did go to some real estate courses, and I just found out that I really didn't like it that well.
Yeah.
And I can't even remember how much I attended. I probably, you know, I attended the real estate school when me and you were together.
I remember that you wore that that suit. Where did that suit come from? Did that come from a garage sale that you're...
Yeah, probably. No, I think that actually came from the Goodwill.
But wait a minute.
like a thrift store.
Did you get that suit because it was supposed to be for a Halloween costume?
I did. but it became my suit eventually. Which I still need to get it. I want a suit.
I know you do, babe. You deserve a suit.
I need to go and get a suit.
I
bet
wanna
you I
go.
could wear this. I want a suit that'll go with these cowboy boots. You know, I might get some of them fucking spurs for the back of this thing.
No, not those. Not those cowboy boots.
So you saying I got to find another pair of big bucket leg cowboy boots?
We'll find something, but not those.
See how she controls me?
No, that's just because I want to make sure that you be looking good.
Mm-hmm. So
I want to make sure that you be looking
that
good.
being said, we actually just got back from the music store
Dun, dun, dun.
where Miss Angela ended up picking up a, survey says, a ukulele.
Yeah, so I'm gonna learn how to play the ukulele. But I am like musically inclined because I've played the violin for a year, and then I played the trumpet for a few years, like 3 or 4. That was like really my main jam. And then the piano, I just kind of like self-taught certain songs because I was telling one of the guys there is that I'm able to, is that play by ear?
Yeah.
So like I would have a song in my head and I'd be like messing around on the piano, and then next thing you know I'd be able to like figure it out, and then after a couple days or something I would be able to play that jam.
Mm-hmm.
So
They asked me what instrument I played when I went in there.
no, wait a minute, tell them, because like so like playing the trumpet is really not that hard.
I don't know about that.
But wait a minute, you gotta tell. Listen, this is John's story on how he tried to play the trumpet.
Well, I went through the whole damn.
But we were at an antique store and he found a trumpet. And
I found a bunch of different instruments. I found trumpets, I found flutes, everything, and I can blow in them
No.
motherfuckers, and no music comes out the other end.
A flute's
All
different.
it sounds like is just somebody blowing on the end of a. Like it doesn't, like no music comes out of the other side.
you know, with a trumpet, normally it's men that are really good at playing that because they obviously have like a bigger diaphragm, so they're able to like blow out more hot air. And I don't know if I've said this on this podcast or a different one, but like I had no problem whatsoever. So I guess I was, it was really easy for me to blow out a lot of hot air, but I've had,
You are full of a lot of hot air.
I'm not. Well, and I've also done like, I've also been in choir and stuff of that nature. That's something that like back in school, I really wish that I pursued because I was actually really good at it. But being young and then going to school in Greenville, I had people that were telling me that I didn't belong there. So I just kind of like,
Trying
said,
to
okay.
fuck up your music shit.
Yeah, that's okay though. I'll probably eventually just take like some singing lessons, but it's not about wanting to be having some type of music career. It's just of like, trying to
See, I'm
see where
afraid that if I go
oh
and
my
take
God,
music
listen
lessons,
to this.
I'm afraid that if I go and start taking music lessons, that I'm going to find out that this was like really my calling, and I'm just going to fucking rip loose, and it's just going to be something that won't stop, and I'll end up like fucking rising to the top of this
I
shit.
think you would be someone that would be good at, it would be a story, but it would be a funny story. Who was really good at doing that from back in the day? There was a good,
Johnny Cash was one of the best storytellers.
no, but there was somebody else that was funny. Who was that? He's the one that sung the,
Ray Charles?
No.
Wait, not Ray Charles. Ray Stevens?
did he sing The Streak?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
That would be your ticket right there.
I don't think so. I'm
don't
going to make
think
people
so?
cry. I'm going to make people, their hearts explode.
Oh, like on Step Brothers when he got up and sang?
Yep. And this reminds me of the time that when I was younger, like that all of a sudden.
Oh God, here he
all
comes
of
with
a
the dance
sudden-
thing.
No, I'm serious, guys. This is a serious. This is a
I
serious
feel
thing that
like
happened to
you've
me.
gotten more rhythm since you've been with me.
Well, here's a serious thing though. Like I never could dance growing up, right?
'Cause you
I
can
stayed
shake your
kind of
hips.
reserved and all that about it. And then
shake your
like
hips.
one day, all of a sudden the music came on, and my body could move to it in coordinates in a way that I'd never felt before. It's like all of a sudden, like I was in the music.
Yeah.
And I was able to dance, like fucking dance. Like I was dancing so good that I had people surrounding me at parties and shit like that, all clapping.
But do you think it's because you weren't inside your head at the time?
Could have been some drug I was doing back then too. And it could have been a mixture of everybody else being drunk. And if I went back and looked at it, I would really like to see them moves.
Oh.
But I was convinced. Like I was convinced. And then all of a sudden I woke up one day and I lost it. It went as quick as it came.
I feel like you got some good dance moves. I mean, you can move your hips pretty good. I mean, you're pretty good.
I should learn how to tap dance.
You're like okay at like the whole twerking thing. And I mean, I think you've got some moves.
I've got the attitude for it.
You got the confidence, like in all honesty, you really do.
I think I just need to take a couple dance lessons. But then what if I end up like fucking being a background dancer for some superstar or something like that?
Oh my God. I don't think that's going to happen because I think you might be too old for that, though.
What?
I mean, you might be good
like
to where
Jason Aldean?
Maybe you can. I don't think he has back.
Well, Kenny Rogers? Hank Williams Jr.?
You would be the only backup dancer. They'd put you over there on the side. Hey, don't you... Okay, wait a minute. I got a good story that we can tell because this one's actually really good. And I know that we haven't shared this yet with
Hurry up. We got one story
guys.
left here.
And don't be like pressing me for time. I don't like that. I have this rubber band. I can flick it and I can hit you wherever I want to with it.
All right.
Okay.
Calm down.
Do you remember that time when you and I went to Indianapolis with Greg and Jill? And we went to the Howl at the Moon Saloon.
Yeah.
And you were like, they were wanting people to come up on stage. Mm-hmm. And you're like, come on, Angela, we're going to go do this. And I was like, no, I don't know about this. And you're like, well, I'm going up there if you don't want to go with me. And I'm like, fine, fuck it. I'll go up there with you. So we get up on stage. And then there's two gals that are, I don't know, over to the left of us or whatever. And they're dancing with each other and all this and that. Well,
like two girls like trying to get it on in front of people, you know, like dancing with each other.
They thought
that they were going to take over the stage.
Oh, hell no.
I got to tell you, that is one moment something came over me because it almost looked like, it felt like Pulp Fiction.
It did. It was
felt
so
like
good.
Like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction.
We had the
whole bar,
people in
the whole
audience, like
cheering for us, chanting for us,
crazy.
And the two girls like got off the stage like all awkwardly, like
oh
God,
how
these
dare
guys
you
just
take my shine?
Took over the stage.
Oh,
I remember wearing my leather jacket and I threw it on the ground and you jumped over it.
Yeah.
And then my brother who was was drunk as shit by then, and we go back and he's like, damn man, that looked like that's part of the show.
And if you've ever been at the Howl at the Moon Saloon, they have they're dual piano players.
Yeah, that place is wild.
Yeah, it was such a good time.
Such a good time, yeah.
Yeah, we had, they were like, we got off the stage and they're like high-fiving John saying he's getting laid. I'm like, yeah, I'm his wife. I don't think that's a problem.
Yeah, all the dudes were like high-fiving me and shit going, yeah.
You had a cigar at the time and somebody held your cigar for you.
That's right. We made it even a little more majestic, you know, like, hold on, I'll hold your cigar. Just hold this guy's cigar.
That was a good time.
Good times.
That was a really good time.
And that being said, we are going to bounce out of this motherfucking podcast.
I know.
Try to keep them around the 30-minute range.
Yeah.
And I think we've had some fun here.
You know
this
what?
Evening.
Listen, I have some very good couples advice, and I've said this on my Insta stories. Like, John and I have been together for over 20 years, and that's something that I'm very super duper proud of because we were considered a statistic, you know? Everybody was against us. The world was against John and I. But just a little tip is make sure you find yourself a good man. One that you can groom.
Or a good girl.
You know, one that you can kind of
one that
groom.
You can make dirty. You can slutify a little bit.
And you've done that to me, but not for the public to see. This is for this is for at home. But you got to make sure that you find a man that can handle your craziness. And John Hiley can definitely handle my craziness because when I get a little too out of line, a little too crazy, my man puts me in check.
You got to find a woman that can handle your manliness.
Yes, that is true.
I'd say my biggest advice to most men out there is like, don't be a bitch.
Yeah.
You know, like, don't be a bitch. Like, I literally sat there for about 20 minutes talking to the Mack tool truck guy, my boy Jason.
Was this just recently?
And no, this was a little while back.
Oh, okay.
And I basically was talking about how, you know, men usually slide to the feminine spectrum, and that's what causes most, you know, divorces is when men become feminine. They start like bitching back, and, you know, their feelings get hurt and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they slide to the feminine spectrum, which basically you lose the polarity, the arc of attraction. When either way, if masculine slides the masculine or if feminine slides the feminine,
Yeah.
you lose the polarity, the arch of the attraction. Most of the time for men, they somehow become beat down and feminized by women, and then they slide to the feminine spectrum, and their feelings start getting hurt, and they start bitching back, and essentially they become the woman. And I was trying to explain this to him when I was one day when I was talking to Jason. And he left there, and he told me next time he came back, the Mack truck, next time he came back, he goes, yeah, man. He goes, after I left there, man, I was really thinking deep, and then my dad called me, and he said, he asked me where I was at, and I told him I just got done talking to John, and then he told his dad that I'm pretty sure that John indirectly called me a bitch like 15 or 16 times in one conversation, you know, because, like, that's what was happening to him. It's what happens to a lot of men. A lot of men, you know, like I've said this before, you should look, like, your woman's going to bitch and complain about stuff, period. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But you should look at it like wind blowing through the trees. And stay in your fucking masculine. Stay in your manliness.
Yeah.
You know, stay there. You don't, you know, it's like when you first started dating her, right? You didn't let that stuff bother you. You just looked at it and was like, okay, whatever. And you just kept on going, you know, and you kept on, your vision was tight.
Yeah.
But what happens is if you slide to the feminine deal, you're going to lose your vision. You're going to lose that deep feeling, that internal feeling of, you know, legacy, you know, the type of feelings that we have when we're really visualizing the future and stuff like that, because you're always going to be sucked into the here and now.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to be sucked into it in like a negative way. Like being in the here and now is good, but when you're in the here and now, you should be like in enjoyment of it, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't be sucked into the here and now in like a little bitch fest.
Yeah.
Where you're bitching back and forth with somebody. You should look at it like, you know, how many times I tell you, you know, I do something wrong, I just say, hey, I'm sorry. And then if you keep on bitching about it, I'll say, you know, I said I was sorry one time. I don't have to say it again.
Sometimes I like it. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, you'll get a little stern with me or whatnot and put me in my place.
Yeah, I'll tell her. I say fucking I'm sorry one time.
Yeah, John will get like this.
As many times as I need to say that I'm sorry.
Yeah, John will get like, you can just tell when I've like pushed the buttons a little too far. And he'll get this look in his eyes. And I'm like, oh no, here it comes. And it's just, I mean, it's nothing like bad, but you just put me in my place.
That look in the eye is usually just enough to make her stop anyway.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, baby, do it again. No.
But the moment you become like a little bitchy, like snipping back at him and stuff like that, that's the moment that you lose your manliness.
We don't like it. We just want to be, you know. You
know, you slide to the feminine side of the spectrum, and that's not where you want to be. You want to be thinking about bigger things, right? Mm-hmm. I kind of look at it like, you know, I'm just like, she bitches about something. I'm like, you know what? No, that's cool. I got bigger fish to fry right now. You know, whatever. All right, you know, I'll do what I can, and I got bigger fish to fry at this moment.
That works for us. You love my craziness, though.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. You know, I'm just going to warn you guys. Okay?
Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to give you guys a fair warning on this one. If y'all start doing it, don't expect for things to go good right off the bat. It takes a while. You know, so you're gonna have to seed into your manliness and your internalness quite a bit, and you're gonna have to resist it. Because if they're used to you arguing back and forth a lot, there's some women that might think that little bickering, that arguing, they might consider that attention and love.
Yeah.
And there's some women that feel like if you don't do that with them, then they're missing out on some sort of attention or some sort of love that you're not giving them.
Well, then they need to like look within themselves and see that that's not the attention they really need or want. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But there is that aspect of it.
That is true.
But at some point, you gotta turn the fucking tides. You gotta turn that shit around. I mean, I learned that from my dad. You know, my mom, when she'd get mad at him, he honestly really looked like he didn't give a shit.
But there were some times to where it got to him, and he would like, you'd see a different side of him that you would never hardly ever see. But here's the thing, though.
Very rare.
When that happened, your mom would get so submissive.
Yeah.
It was like, is this even Nidra Hiley? And next thing you know, like Jerry be storming out the back door, and then there would be Nidra following him, apologizing and saying, like, you know what I'm saying? Because what she did was she just pushes buttons a little too far, you know?
You know, and he'd just say something like this. He never snipped back at her. He said, hey, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to quit. You know, but for the longest time, I remember my mom being mad as shit at him about something. He'd come in, do. He was like one of them guys humming and singing all the time, you know. He was always happy. And he rarely let anybody take that happiness from him. Do you know how long those
two were together? I mean,
long time. I mean, God, when I knew it was 30-some years. I don't know.
Yeah, and he was previously married and had some kids, and then she was with a gentleman, but they never got married, and they had some kids, and then they got together and blended the families, and it worked out. I mean, because they were together for a very long time. Yeah.
But I still contribute that to number one. You know, most people are so easy to quit on each other, and you know, if any ways or means, like my dad spent most of his time out in the garage, and you know, most of the time they were drinking, fucking hooting and hollering around. He would head off and jam off to downtown with his buddies and shit like that. But she was an old school woman. She just knew that's what men did. You know, she knew that. She knew that's what men did, and it made her mad. You know, but she got over it. And she realized that ain't no reason to fucking go and divorce a motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's just because he's out being a man.
I guess that's what you want to call it.
Yeah, he did what he wanted. He did what he wanted. He lived a hell of a good life. He lived a fun life.
Yeah, he was a good man.
You know? I mean, hey, we all got our different things. I mean, I'm not into that, you know, but
no.
He did his shit the way he did it, you know?
You were when we were younger.
Of course.
Yeah.
I did the same thing he did.
Yes, you did.
And then you call that me putting you through some shit. I don't even think I've ever heard my mom say that about him. Like he put her through shit.
You've put me through some shit, and you know you have. So there. But I've put you through some shit too. So
all right.
We're even.
There we go. You guys heard that. It's recorded. It's on the podcast.
Oh, that we're even?
Yep.
No, it's fine. We're even.
Y'all heard it.
We're even, Steven.
All right, everybody. On that note, I'm going to bounce the fuck up out of here. All right, everybody. As usual, I'm going to see you on that next one.
And remember, it's all about the motherfucking hustle.